Do you like flashlights?
Yeah, I like flashlights.
Do you want to be able to see in the dark but are too poor to afford night vision?
That one seemed kind of personal. Are you talking directly to me?
Then stay tuned. I think this video is for you. Oh. This is, of course, the TLR RM2 with the HPL head. So you can see it's a little bit longer. It is going to about double your Candela without decreasing battery life and without changing the lumen output. So you're still getting 1,000 lumens in this unit. You're still getting 1.5 hours runtime on 2CR123A batteries, and you're getting the enhanced Candela of 22,000 Candela. As far as the way that this works, you have the head, which is similar and works the same. It's interchangeable with the smaller heads where you have the lockout feature. We just turn it a little bit and you can lock it out so you avoid accidental activation. But otherwise, if you twist it on all the way, it'll work just fine. And you have the button right here in this case. Otherwise, you remove this little rubber piece and you can plug in your pressure pad. So the way that this light works as far as activation goes, you have momentary, just by holding it down and then letting it go. And you also have constant on by clicking it on and letting go. The same is true for the pressure pad. When you plug in the pressure pad, it works the exact same way. One big pressure pad, anywhere you touch it, it works. Same thing, hold it down for momentary and let go to turn it off, or click it on for constant. I really like that it's the exact same functionality to keep things really simple, because you want to simplify things when you are using a weapon light. Here's the profile we're looking at right now. This is a Holosun 403R, and this is on a lower 1/3 co-witness mount. So as you can see here, lots of room. Nothing is obstructing my view because this is nice and flat on the bottom, or in this case the top because it's upside down. Perspective. Also, I'll give you the bad guy view, and you can see that nothing is in the way, and I will now blind you. Here's how the rest of this review is going to go. I'm going to show you all the bits and pieces, how you can configure this all so you know all the different ways that you can use this light. Then we're going to be going outside at a wide array of distances so you can see the difference between this high Candela or enhanced Candela head versus the original head. I have both, they're interchangeable, so you'll see all the differences there. And then we'll also do some indoor testing so you can see if there's any practical difference indoors. My guess is the big differences are going to be outside. That's where I think this light will really shine. And then we'll wrap it up with some final thoughts, first impressions, and goodbyes. To keep things open and honest with you guys, I want to make sure you know I was sent this light from Streamlight, so thank you to Streamlight for sending this over for review. This is for my honest opinion on the light, so I'm going to give you the pros and the cons in this video. But if you do decide after checking out the whole video that you want to purchase the light, I have a link in the description and in the pinned comment below, so you can go to my link tree. That's where all of the deals are. That's where my exclusive discount codes are for my viewers, and that's where you're going to be taken to a bunch of websites that have deals going on constantly. That's the way I like to shop, so that's where I'm going to point you guys to. And if you click on my link and then do your shopping on the stuff that you were already going to buy, it saves you money and it helps out the channel so we can continue this based content. Thank you in advance for all of your support. You guys are the best. Now for the more important stuff, I take prayer requests. So if you guys have any prayer requests, you can put them in the comment section below. Or if you want a more private setting to do so, you can DM me on Instagram at yourfavoritelibertarian. Now with no further ado, let's get into the actual video. And now it's time for everyone's favorite portion of the video, what's in the box. This is the portion of the video where I show you what's in the box. Most importantly, you have a sticker. Congrats on celebrating 50 years, guys. 2 batteries. These are the CR123A batteries. Your screws, keepers, and your pressure pad. An extensive user's manual. And of course, the light itself.
Ooh.
Now I'm going to show you how to set it all up.
Okay, so we have a lot going on here. First, I'm going to show you how you can install this pressure pad. Now, this pressure pad is really cool because it has constant and momentary on. There's no different buttons. It's all the same button, so that's pretty cool. And it just plugs right in. So I'll show you how to do that. But first, I'm just going to show you how to do that on a rail itself. And then I'll show you some of the other options on how you can install it. You have a flat surface on the other side. So if you did want to use some type of 3M adhesive, it does come with that. And you could put this on, let's say, the side of a wooden stock or a plastic stock. If you're running this on a shotgun or some other type of old school rifle, you could do that. You would simply have this to stick on, and then you have these two screws here if you want to fasten it to the surface that you're adhering this to as well. So that's one way to attach it, but now we're going to show you a way that you can attach it on a pick rail. Now that we're talking about pick rail attachment, we need to talk about these guys here. I'll show you one of them to give you an example of what it looks like all over, so you know which way you're supposed to put it on. Essentially, you have cable management on these two channels here, and then this wedge right here is what is going to help you clamp around the pick rail here. On the top, you have a little stopper on each end, and that's what's going to stop this from sliding forward anymore as you put this together. So I'll show you how this piece goes onto the pick rail so you have an idea without this pad in the way, and then we'll put it all together so you can see how you would attach the pressure pad. All right, so here we go. I'm just gonna line this up so that the pick rail, raised pieces of the pick rail are in between and going through these holes. Then I'm gonna bend it a little bit because it is malleable. And there we go. Now when I slide this on, it's not gonna go any further back, and that's gonna keep it in place. You do get a ton of zip ties if you want to wrap this around and keep it together that way. You totally can, it's up to you, but that is how you would put that together. We did it, yay! I was able to get a little more leverage. And what I did is I slid the back end in first so that both of these were in the right spot, and was able to get one edge in, and then I just pushed and moved this over enough to kind of clip this into place. That's the best way I found to do it, at least with these rail tolerances. Let me know if you found a better way. But now let's test out the pressure pad and see how it works. Here we have the back end of the light. This little piece just pops off, reveals a hole. Go ahead and plug this in like so. Now, just like you have momentary and constant on, you have momentary and constant on, which is pretty cool. You have the same exact controls as you would on the clicky button here, just on the pressure pad. Success. So that previous clip where we're showing you how to do the pressure pad stuff, completely for your benefit because I'm not using that at all. This rail is way too short for that. What I'm going to show you how to do is attach this, and it's pretty simple. You just unscrew as much as you can these screws. There's little keepers on the other end to make sure that they don't come all the way out. And then what you're going to do is you're going to push the top of the heads here to open it. There's little springs inside of here on the other side of the screw heads. That allows you to do that. And then once you get it over the rail, let go, and it should clamp into place. And you're just going to push it forward a little bit to make sure that it's in the right position as you're tightening it down. Under recoil, it's going to want to go this way anyway. You know, the massive recoil of a 22, right? But here we go. Let's clamp it on and see how it looks. All right, so now that we got that on, push it forward and just tighten it down. Boop, boop. All right, let's check it out. Here it is in its new configuration, pointed in a safe direction and unloaded, of course. All right, so there you can see plenty of room. I am able to look through the red dot and nothing is obscured in my view, but don't take my word for it. Just look at where this light is and where the ring is for the red dot. Now, as far as activation, I'm just doing a normal C-clamp, and I have momentary, I have constant, and my thumb isn't getting in the way either, which is nice. If I go like way up here, it could be in the way, but that doesn't feel natural, and it's also barely even touching the button at all. So as far as how you would actually hold this and actuate it, this is really comfortable for me so far. We'll see for like a really long range day how it feels, but it's not too bad with that C-clamp grip.
and I kind of dig it. It's a cool vibe, and it's also very anti-snag because everything is in line with the bore as opposed to things sticking out on the side like I had on the light previously. For indoor testing, this is our room with the light on, and this is our room with the light off. First up, we have, with the light in the room on, the RM2 with the standard head. There is our hot spot. Here's our spill. Very, very easy to identify everything in real life. It's kind of washing out on camera, but it actually looks really good and really defined. There's our umbrella lighting. And back to the hot spot. Now we'll do the same test with the same head in the dark. There's our hot spot, very bright, very easy to see. There's our spill. We got a nice big spill with this light. Really good for indoor use. Some more hot spot. Everything's very easy to see and defined. And there's our umbrella lighting. Now let's see how this does indoors with the HPL head with the light on. As you can see, it is so bright, it is just messing with the camera like crazy, but I finally got it to focus enough so you can see it is very, very bright. It's a very defined and very strong hot spot. There's your spill. Gosh, this camera's going wild. There's your spill, very good spill. And then we have, again, camera issue, sorry guys. And here's going to be our umbrella lighting. All of that works really well. Again, same lumens, just way more Candela, 22,000 Candela. Now with the light off, same test, same head, HPL head. There is our hot spot, and it is blinding that action figure. There is our spill. Really good spill still as well. You're still getting 1,000 lumens. Umbrella lighting, and back to the hot spot. While it's easier to see, let's go over the landmarks so you have an idea of how far we're actually testing this light with this head and the other head. The first marker is going to be the sign. It's a white sign. It'll be more reflective at night, so you'll be able to see it better. But that is 108 yards away from where we're holding this flashlight. Then a little bit further out, there is a tall dead tree that you'll see. That's 224 yards. After that, there is a duck blind to the far right. That is 406 yards. And we have a duck blind to the left of that. That is 463 yards. Now let's get into the testing. As illustrated in this side-by-side comparison between the two heads, the flood is almost identical. It's when we start getting out to distance that you can really tell a difference. I can see the tall dead tree with both of these. I can see the sign with both of these. But when I try to see the duck blind, I can't see the duck blind with the regular head where I can with the HPL head, and I can't see the further duck blind either with the regular head, but I can with the HPL head. The HPL wins at distance. Shocker. So what do I think about the RM2 with the HPL head? I'm going to talk about the cons first, just to get those out of the way. And most of these are kind of like personal preference things for me. Maybe you think they're good and it's just, you know, an opinion of mine, but this is kind of what I'm thinking from having some time to play with this a little bit. First thing is going to be the button. So this button back here, you can see you have all this real estate, but you're only using half of it for the button. Now, part of that could be you need to have room underneath here for this little plug and for you to be able to plug in your pressure pad. So I get that. That could have been just a design decision that they made, but I would have liked to see this come all the way down so that you almost have like a mini pressure pad on the light, which would be super cool. A couple reasons why that would be good if you don't have size large hands like me and you have a much thicker in diameter rail. I could see it being harder to reach past here to get up here just ever so slightly. And that could potentially be an issue. Also, if you have an optic that is mounted lower like this, it just gives you more room to reach lower to grab this. And this would be a more natural position. And this is still a little high in general because you have to have room to be able to plug in the pressure pad. So if they could just extend this button further, that would be super cool. That would be helpful for me.
Otherwise, the button works. There's nothing wrong with the button itself. It's just the length of the button that I would like elongated. The next con is going to be weight. This is pretty heavy for its size compared to, let's say, a Modlite OKW with an Arasaka mount. This is a 45-degree mount. This has the 18650 battery in it. This has the two CR123A batteries in it. And this is actually heavier than this is, which is pretty wild because, as you can see, this is a bigger light, bigger head, more Candela, etc. Not more lumens though. This beats it on lumens. But either way, regardless of those types of specs, the weight is what I'm talking about right now. And this, I think, because of its blocky design, is adding more weight than it needs to. I understand it's a very iconic design for Streamlight and the RM line, so I see why it's still like this. They do have chamfered edges to cut some weight off of this design. But if they were to round this and have it be just, you know, a little bit more material than the diameter of the batteries, you could shave a lot of weight off this. It would be very light. And that is a good thing when you are putting something at the end of your gun or as far out on the rail as you can, because that's typically where you're going to run lights. And anything further from your body is going to feel like more weight as you're holding it out with your support hand and doing training all day. So that would be my suggestion. They can take it or leave it, but that is something that I did notice when I was moving around with this, especially on the super light gun, because this is, I think it's like an 8.5 inch barrel. Then you got the suppressor, but most of this, for the most part, this being an M&P 1522 pistol, is mostly plastic. So anything you put on this gun, it's gonna do that. Another thing that I wasn't a huge fan of was the way that you attach the pressure pad to the pick rail. And you could see a little bit of my frustration in the video today of trying to figure out a way to have both the keepers for the pick rail on and the pressure pad on at the same time. Various methods, and maybe I did everything wrong and I'm just not that smart, but let me know in the comment section below. I mean, I guess you can let me know if you think I'm smart or not in the comment section below, but let me know if you have a better method for attaching the pressure pad with those keepers in the comment section. Otherwise though, I might have a free idea for Streamlight. So Streamlight, if you're listening, what I would recommend is have one long piece that is just exactly like what you have in the kit, but instead of, you know, one of those pieces being one piece and then another one being the other piece, have it all be the entire length of the pressure pad, but have the very end of it, instead of it being rounded off on one of the ends, have that be its own separate piece. So all you'd have to do is take the whole thing, clamp it on, click it on, and then slide your pressure pad in. After that, you just take that little piece, that's the round piece that keeps it in place, because you already have a round piece on the other end. The round piece up here that keeps it in place, have that click in somehow, just like slide on the rail and click in. That would be super cool, because then you'd be able to keep the pressure pad in place. It wouldn't be a super frustrating process and you wouldn't worry about damaging anything as you're trying to install that pressure pad. And if you're someone who wants to try a bunch of different positions for your pressure pad, it's even less annoying because you're not having to do something that's really hard to do a bunch of times. You're able to do something a bunch of times that's really easy to do. Maybe that helps, maybe it doesn't, but that's my idea and it's free. The next thing, and this is just something I really want to see happen with this line, is adding more flashlight heads to this line. When I was talking to the folks at SHOT Show, they said that this will eventually be available, the head itself, available sold separately. At initial release, it's going to be included in certain lights that are going to be re-released with the HPL head, but eventually you will be able to buy this head separately. What I would like to see, although I was very impressed with how this performed outside in the throw that it had with 22,000 Candela, I would like to see other heads in this line that are pushing 60,000, 70,000, 90,000 Candela. That would be awesome, especially if they work with the same thread pattern and size diameter at the very bottom as this one does. That would mean you could have all this modularity between pistol platforms and weapon mounted platforms. And for the weapon mounted platforms, you could have a much larger diameter head up here or have it be much longer because it's going to be on an AR-15 or something like it, as opposed to having the size and weight restrictions of something that's going to be on a handgun. So that would be super cool. And you could even do it to where it's the same diameter as your TLR 1HL. So it would still work with a bunch of different holsters. So you could have the functionality and the lightweight body and the small form factor of some of the other stuff like the TLR 7 sub,
but with a head that's the diameter of a TLR 1HL and would work in all the TLR 1HL holsters. I know personally as a consumer of high output lights that I would be very stoked to see another option in the high Candela flashlight game with the pricing of Streamlight. But hey, maybe that's just me. Let me know in the comment section below if that'd be something you'd be into. Pros. Now I'm gonna be kind of short on the pros simply because most of the video I'm talking about the pros of this light because it's just so gosh darn good. But let's talk about some of the things I didn't really mention in the review so far, and that's going to be the value of this light as far as what this pricing is for this light and what you get in the box. It's pretty wild. If you think about what it would cost if, let's say you're going with a company like Surefire. Let's say you want a flashlight, cool, that'll be 300 bucks. Do you want a pressure pad too? Oh, that'll be another 300 bucks. Oh, do you want to change out the back of your flashlight so it'll actually accept the plug for the pressure pad? That's another 300 bucks. I may or may not be exaggerating, but based on the pricing of 2024, I don't think I'm too far off. This is like not that much money, and it includes the pressure pad, which works, and you still can use the button here while you have the pressure pad plugged in, so you have a fail-safe if somehow the pressure pad stops working. You have the pressure pad that works exactly the same as the button here, and it's all included. Not only do they include that, they include keepers, they include zip ties, they include adhesives, so they give you multiple ways of attaching the pressure pad, and it's all at less than a Surefire light is probably. Whew, I got a little spicy. Another pro, and this could just be indicative of the style of this flashlight, but I really like that this is in line with the bore. I don't have anything that is snagging on this gun, which is good if you are going to have to use a gun like this in tight structures, in vehicles, in LARPing. And lastly, maybe not the most important thing, but it does look cool. It's different. It's not a tube with light coming out of it like all the other flashlights out there. And while style isn't everything, isn't it something? Well, that's pretty much gonna wrap things up for my review of the TLR RM2 with the HPL head. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Again, this is your reminder that I have a link tree if you wanna help support the channel, buy cool stuff, get discounts, and I also take prayer requests. So leave those in the comment section below. Love praying for you guys. If you'd like to DM me on Instagram, that's a more private way to do so, but completely up to you. And either way, happy to pray for you. Other than that, I've got nothing else except to say thanks for watching, stay free, God bless.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah.